Hello, Internet. You are looking live here at DNA HQ here in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. On today's episode of the DNA Sports Recap, we have...
Let's talk the University of Utah and their private equity deal.
With the Utah Jazz, is Walker Kessler the guy?
And MLB Owners have made their first counteroffer. Let's break it down.
All that and more. My name is Darren. That is AJ. And this is the DNA Sports Recap.
Roll the intro.
How's it going, AJ?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. We've got a lot to talk about, and this is actually the first time in a couple of weeks that we're actually going to be talking about the University of Utah football. So,
absolutely.
Before we get into that, folks, we want to remind you that this is a live show. So, if you're joining us on the live stream, first of all, appreciate you. Each and every one of you that join us every single week, we appreciate it. Feel free to jump into the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. AJ wants to know your favorite color, as long as it's red.
You know the rules. You know the rules.
Exactly. Again, just chime in on what we're talking about here, guys. The point of this being a live stream is that we interact with y'all, so be sure to join in the conversation for sure. If you're listening to this on a podcast after the fact, or if you're, watching this on YouTube after the fact, again, jump into the comments. Let us know what your thoughts are in regards to what we're talking about. So appreciate y'all.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, without further ado, AJ, let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's talk some University of Utah football.
Let's do it. Before we get into the content, we'd like to encourage you to join the conversation in the comments down below. While you're down there, consider subscribing to Utah Football DNA. Make sure you smash that like button for your boy Darren.
That's right. AJ, the sky is falling.
I know, that's what I keep hearing.
Is reported by the media on Friday that the Utah Athletics employees are starting to receive notices that they will be laid off as of June 30th. This was broken down in several articles locally, one by Joe Coles, who reports on the U of U for the Deseret News, in preparation for the growth of Crimson Brand Partners, CBP, formerly Utah Brand Initiative. UBI is much easier to say than CBP, so I wish I would have kept it the old way. But anyway, the university has begun the process of transitioning select units of some university operations to the new company. The Utah Athletics spokesperson said that this is the first step in that process that requires discontinuation of individual positions in those units through a reduction in force to be allowed for CBP's hiring process. If you spent any amount of time on YouTube, which, let's face it, that's probably a lot of you out there. You've probably seen videos.
I hope so.
As long as it says DNA somewhere in the video.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've seen titles like Government Officials Questions Utah's Private Equity Deal. Utah's Bold Move Draws National Criticism. Or other titles like Another Victim of Private Equity. And my most favorite one, AJ, BYU fans laugh at Utah's private equity disaster. Athletic department failing. This all comes on the unfortunate state of the state auditor, where they stated that University of Utah aggressively burned through $55 million of their reserve funds. One of my favorite lines from one of these videos were, the team down the street is paying cash for everything. You're doing the opposite. You're on loan with some businessman in New York, and you're sending all the profits to Wall Street. AJ, as our internal optimistic Utah fan that
Yes,
you are.
That is my job.
That is his job.
Just if anybody has any questions and you need a little uptick about Utah football, hit me up.
Exactly. Please tell us why the sky is not falling for the University of Utah. Please give us some optimism, AJ. We need some optimism on the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start off with, there is only about 18 to 25 athletic departments across nearly 370 NCAA Division I schools that consistently generate a profit, meaning that the vast majority of these schools, and that's roughly 90% of them, operate at an overall financial loss. Okay. So these deficits are all heavily subsidized by student fees, campus budgets, institutional support.
Right.
That's how they get there. So there's only a small minority of premier programs in the SEC, the Big Ten, and we're talking the Ohio States, Alabama, Texas, Georgias of the world, right? Those are the programs that kind of see their football teams as just straight up cash grabs, right? They bring in enough money that they subsidize all of the programs, athletics departments. And those programs generate tens of millions of dollars in profit every single time. So even among some of these high profile athletic departments in Power 4 conferences, most of them run on large operational deficits. And all of these are unsustainable because what they spend it on is facilities, coach buyouts, travel costs. Now, let me ask you, Darren, which of those do you think apply to the University of Utah?
Oh, gosh. The coach buyout would be one of them.
The answer is all three.
Yeah.
So when
Which
you go,
isn't something that normally happens for Utah, though.
Spending on facilities, the Spence and Cleone Eccles Football Center was $11.89 million. The John M. and Karen Huntsman Basketball Training Center, $17.83 million. The Ken Garff Red Zone at Rice Eccles Stadium, $61.03 million. That totals $90 million that the university is paying back with interest as of now. Coaching buyouts. I don't know if anybody remembers a guy named Kyle Whittingham.
Rings a bell.
Yeah, he didn't just walk away and head over to Michigan for free.
No.
Last year, when he left, he received a $13.5 million separation agreement. Yes, it was paid across 3 years, but just last year, $8 million of it was paid to him. Or sorry, $8 million. He gets $8 million this year.
Right.
$4 million in 2027 and $1.5 million in 2028. That is a lot of money to pay somebody just to not coach for you anymore.
Right.
Right. So all of that is also in that, built into that deficit that we're seeing.
Right.
And then the last one on that list was travel costs. You remember back in the day when we had like the Pac-12?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is a good one, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know where you're going there.
Man, those were the days, right?
Yeah.
Furthest travel was like
6 hours.
I don't know. We had a non-conference game, maybe. I think we had a home-and-home series against Baylor, or just any other random Power 4 school. You'd have like one home-and-home series.
Right.
You seen the map lately for the Big 12?
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, Utah, BYU, ASU, and Arizona are the furthest west teams. Okay, so all those are pretty much in line with each other. You're like a 2-hour plane ride.
So if we're lucky to play those two teams in the same year, travel
Those
costs.
three, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those three schools.
Travel costs might be drastically down because otherwise you got West Virginia, UCF, Cincinnati. Those teams are on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
And this conference realignment is it's killing travel costs, right? Which it comes directly out of the university's budget. So this isn't just Utah, right? These are things that are happening with Utah that are being spotlighted because of Utah took a private equity deal.
Right.
Every single D1 program is making updates to their facilities. Most of them have had coaching turnover. And we all know because of conference realignment, all of them are battling travel costs. So Utah is under the microscope because everyone sees private equity and thinks that Utah is turning strictly to a for-profit model. But realistically, the only way that you become Alabama, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia is by getting cash infused to the program so that you can build it and continue to build successful athletic departments. That's it. That's my whole spiel, right? You have to have money come in so that you can continue to build and bring in players and match all of these Texas Techs of the world or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's what has to happen.
So do you think that University of Utah was just a little over their skis for a couple of years there, and then the move to the Big 12 kind of put them in a situation where they're like, okay, we're going to keep up with what we were doing, and then, just didn't recognize how far over the balance sheet? My question is, do you think that other teams are operating at this high of a deficit?
I would be very surprised if a lot of them were not.
Okay. So you're saying like this $50 million deficit is the only reason why the state auditor is throwing up a red flag and why it's press news is simply because of the private equity thing. You're thinking other state institutions are probably operating at somewhere close to the same level of deficit, and it's only making headlines because of the private equity deal.
And I think, yes, exactly. The private equity has flagged this so that it makes it news. Any other time the school's audited, Utah's been running into their reserves for the last couple of years. That's the only reason that they ever show a positive is because they pull money out of their reserves, cover just enough that they need, and then they show a profit.
Right.
Right. Last year they had to do more because they had to pay Kyle Whittingham. They have all these loans, right? Like they had to start paying on the Ken Garff Red Zone Eccles Center.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a 15-year loan. I'm not sure on the math there, but $61 million over 15 years is probably it's quite a bit of money, right? You're talking $3 to $4 million a year.
Yeah, which isn't bad. Not a bad loan.
But now you do that with the other 17.
Yeah.
28 million. So now you've got $10 million a year that you're losing just paying off or just paying back for the facility upgrades that you've made. So I don't know. I do think that a lot of these other D1 programs are operating at the same types of deficits. I don't think it's as big of a red flag as everyone's making it out to be. All Utah has to do is get the football program back in line, start winning football games. Everything works.
Gotcha. So you're saying solution is win games, right?
Win games, yeah.
So do we think the private equity deal was done out of desperation to steer the ship in the right direction? And did they know that they were operating and that something like this had to happen?
Yeah, and I'm not sure desperation is quite the right word for what they did. You know what I mean? Like I think Utah's positioning themselves with funding to take this program to the next level. Is there some risk? Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, right?
Yeah.
Go ask Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. Hell, you can ask Ryan Smith. Like, you don't make yourself successful without there being some risk associated with it, right? Nobody does. All of these guys have taken big swings, and it either paid off or it didn't. I would feel better about the Utes taking the swing with private equity, having the cash, being able to infuse some money into the university and have the ability to, like, at some point, we're going to have to start paying some of these guys, at least have that option.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, which is funny because I asked in the pre-show meeting, I asked you if desperation was the right word, and you said yes, and now you're telling me it's no. Desperation is not the right word, but it's the right word for me to use against your comment later on. So.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, I like it. Second question I have here is how will this affect Utah's ability to compete with the Texas of the conference? Are they going to have a check? Are they going to have to are they going to be able to cut a check for these players, or are they going to have to check with a suit back in New York to sign a player?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is Utah has to be able to. They've got to be able to dish out this $20.5 million in revenue sharing, right? With the current deficit they were at, they were not going to be able to dish out $20.5 million more dollars,
right?
And still be even remotely to where an auditor's like, you guys are good to go,
right?
So. Now, that has to cover all of the sports. Typically, college football commands roughly 75% of that budget for most schools. So that's roughly $15 million a year per team that you're using for NIL funding. So if they can get there and they can keep getting talent and using that money effectively to bring and keep guys that are going to move this, they won't have any issues staying right up there with the Texas Techs of the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole reason the thing was put in place. Revenue sharing can be used up to $20.5 million. So, yeah, I mean, it gives them an option to have that money to spend and be able to use it to make the football program better.
So, to kind of put a cherry on this whole Sunday here, is that do we see that this is kind of like an all eyes on Utah football program type moment here where we see whether or not private equity belongs in college sports?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it is absolutely all eyes on Utah. And I'd be willing to bet that most schools have looked into this exact same model. And if they hadn't done it before, they're probably looking into it now. And since Utah was the first one to commit to it, you better believe that every single university is watching what Utah does and how they use it and if it's effective. And they want to know how this whole thing plays out, which the thing is Utah as a university is in national media right now. That is always a good thing, my friend.
Right.
And they're in national media saying, hey, these guys just took $500 million from a private equity firm. And if you're a 19-year-old kid looking to commit somewhere and you heard that Utah's got $500 million, you're not thinking they have any issues paying, guys.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was enough on this, so we're not going to go too much further into it. I just felt it was enough for us to bring up and talk about the story because, again, it came up this week. It came up over the weekend. pretty big deal. Yeah, not as big a deal as one would think, but it was enough to generate headlines. And obviously, when they generate headlines, we got to talk about it. So it's just
Absolutely
how that works. So
that's what we're here for, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Please feel free to jump in. Let us know what your thoughts are regarding the Otro Capital and the University of Utah. That partnership, do you think it's a good idea, bad idea? Is this story a nothing burger? Does it mean something, nothing, everything? We want to hear from you. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. AJ? What I think of when I think of, private equity? You know what it reminds me of?
What's that, buddy?
It reminds me of like the first 15 minutes of a disaster movie.
Yeah.
Everybody, you know what I'm talking about though? That scene where everybody's, smiling, shaking hands. They're so proud of the deal they just struck. Consultants are there with their binders, their charts, champagne, enough PowerPoint presentations to crash a terabyte hard drive. You know what I'm talking about? And then you hit the skip forward side of the screen a couple times there. And then you're left standing in the rubble of something that was once great, that survived over 100 years, survived multiple wars, inflation, recession, competitors, changes in technology, and whatever the hell that whole NFT thing was, just to fall apart by some Wall Street suit with a fucking spreadsheet.
Yeah.
The playbook's always the same. It's always the same. They start by buying a company. They talk about optimizing their capital structure and streamlining their processes. They borrow money against the company, and then they charge them management fees for the privilege of being owned by them. They sell off all their assets in real estate, and they start the inevitable corporate talk about why the company's struggling and how it's always some regulator's fault. Even in their bankruptcy hearing, they're sitting there talking about unexpected market conditions. When I first heard the news, I thought, okay, maybe this will be okay. Or, more than likely, maybe in 5 years down the road, we'll see this 134-year-old football program that has entered Chapter 11, and probably because we're going to be blaming it on that new conference realignment shenanigans, right? So, which way will this all play out? I don't know. I know it didn't go so well for Sears, Radio Shack, Joann's Fabric, Party City, Red Lobster, Toys R Us. The list goes on and on. That was literally just the last 10 years, AJ. So, do I know how this will play out? No, I don't. But one thing I do know is that whenever private equity enters the chat, nobody wins.
That was great.
We want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are. Get in the comments down below. Please chime in. We got a great comment here from Greg Hawkins, channel legend Greg Hawkins. We can't afford a football team anymore. That's the harsh truth. Okay. I think I know where he's coming from on that, man. This whole, NIL stuff and, I think they're kind of going the wrong way. I think the NIL thing was originally designed in spirit to let these kids, go to a local dealership and get paid $10,000 to sign autographs for a couple hours.
That's absolutely what it was. Be in a video game and make $40 or whatever it is to have your name and be in the video game the whole time. And
yeah,
I think it's actually like $300 and they get a copy of the video game with themselves in it.
Yeah. With their player stats maxed out. Right.
Yeah.
That's what happens with MLB The Show. It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I follow a few who actually get to play with the players and then the version of the game they get, their player stats are completely maxed out for them. It's pretty fun. But yeah, man, I just think it was in the spirit of the rule. We kind of got in the way of it a little bit, and now it just became a pay to play scenario. And I think I kind of know exactly where he's coming from. Just out here, we're not the South, man. It's Utah. College football is not everything, and it's kind of one of those things where it's going to be a little tricky to kind of find ways to compete and play in this arena. And this might be the solution. Might not.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a chance.
Yeah.
But I think you have to take the risk.
You definitely do. Yeah. I definitely think that's it was either this or what? What are you going to do? You can't go to the cookie guy. He's down the street.
Yeah.
Who else are you going to go to? You already have Huntsman. You already have, the Eccles. Who else are you going to go to?
Yeah. They already loaned you $90 million.
Yeah. And you're not going to, that's a loan. What are we talking about, Eccles? Come on, guys. And then, obviously the Jazz owner, he's down south too. You got to, we got to find a new billionaire.
What are the Millers doing?
One of the,
Do they have any? Do they have any college associate like affiliations? Because
given the
we
fact,
could really use the Millers right now.
given the fact that they did not have a Jazz home game on Sunday for like 15, 20 years, I think I know which direction they're leaning on that one.
Good point.
We've got another comment here from Greg Hawkins, channel legend. Utah is going with Otro Capital because we literally cannot afford to keep the athletic department going. Expenses are going up higher than revenues. We are running in a deficit every year now, and it's unsustainable. So, yeah, I think that's definitely not necessarily a sky is falling version of it. I think if you take that comment there, there's a lot of truth in that. You know, there's a lot of truth in that. And it's either A, pack it up and just say, okay, we're now just strictly a academic college, where we're the leaders in medicine in the country, and then just hold your hat on that. Or you got to find a solution. And I think this is a great solution to take a risk on and try.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Again, folks, we want to hear from you. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Oh, we got one more here from you, Greg. Greg, love it, dude. Keep it going. Let's see here. Otro is the hatchet man before it goes away.
Greg, your two sky is fallen, man. Easy.
Hey, I just think he's aligning with me in my little spiel there.
Yeah. Tone down your spiel, Darren. This is Utah football we're talking about.
Can I give you an example of how the sky's not falling and how this works out?
Yeah.
Dodgers are owned by private equity, the Guggenheim Group. They've done nothing but invest in that team to the point where, their valuation went from $3 billion to over $11 billion. That company now just bought the Lakers. So sorry for us Jazz fans. The Lakers are never going to be worse than they are now.
Yeah.
So that's not good news. But, there is evidence out there of when private equity buys into a team and actually does things for good and not for bad. So, there's definitely room for optimism there, except for Greg. Greg does not see the optimism of that. Yeah, but Utah is not the Dodgers.
But we could be, Greg. Okay, we could be the Dodgers.
Before the Dodgers were bought by the Guggenheim Group, they owned Vin Scully $300,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah, their legendary broadcaster was owed $300,000 of back pay. That's how broke the Dodgers were in LA. Storied franchise. And, it's just, and now they have the highest payroll in baseball just because private equity jumped in and helped out. Thanks, Magic Johnson. Appreciate it. Okay, let's go ahead and pivot on over. Since we're talking a little bit about baseball, let's talk some baseball, AJ.
Let's do it.
But first, before we get into the content, folks, we'd like to encourage you to join the conversation in the comments down below. While you're down there, consider subscribing to Major League DNA and make sure you smash that like button for your boy AJ right over there.
Do it. What's up, Darren? We're back. You ready to talk Major League Baseball?
Dude, I'm absolutely so ready to talk baseball.
So here's my question. Major League Baseball, it may be headed towards its biggest labor battle in more than 30 years, right?
Yeah.
And the opening proposal from the owners has already drawn quite a line in the sand here, right? For the first time since the 1994 strike that canceled the World Series, MLB owners have formally proposed a hard salary cap. And on the surface, the proposal includes both a salary cap and a salary a salary cap and a salary floor. And that's something the fans have really argued the baseball needs to improve the competitive balance. But I don't know, man. When you dig into the details, this thing gets a little bit more complicated, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it does a little bit. Does it? Do you know what the offer is on the?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah.
You're gonna break that down for us, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the league is proposing a $245 million salary cap and a $171 million salary floor. So beginning in 2027, along with a 50-50 revenue split, and between owner. Sorry. I read that way wrong, though. Okay. Along with a 50-50 revenue split between owners and players. So because a player benefits would count against those payroll figures, though, the real cap would be closer to $222 million, and the real floor would be around $148 million. So this would create a massive change in the league, right? I mean, teams like the Dodgers would be forced to cut $140 million from their payroll. Mm-hmm. Well, probably a dozen other teams would really need to increase spending just to reach that minimum threshold.
Right.
So what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so let's start with what the players' main points were for their argument.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, for their proposal. Then we'll talk about the main points for the
owners' rebuttal.
owners.
Yeah.
And then kind of see where they match and also what I'm surprised about.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and start. So the first one was the players wanted a competitive integrity tax of $150 million, right? So that basically is let's say that's like a soft floor of $150 million. What was the owners' salary floor? $171 million.
171. Yeah.
So the owners want a higher salary floor than the players do.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Minimum salary, they wanted to be raised to $1.5 million. They also wanted to increase the collective bargaining tax threshold from $244 million, which is what it is right now, up to $300 million. They also wanted more revenue sharing from local TV deals and not from stadium revenue. Free agency for players that are above 30 with 5 years of service time, and also remove pre-arbitration years. So right from the first year that you're on, after that first year when you're called up and you're no longer a rookie, your arbitration starts right after that, right? So that's basically what they wanted to go with, right? Now the owner side, like you mentioned, hard cap of $245 million, floor of $171 million. They want a 50-50 revenue split league-wide. And now they also want centralized media rights, eliminating blackouts. And one of the last things was they want it to be a 7-year deal, not a 5-year deal. So both also want a salary floor. So that's common ground there. They both want a salary floor. I find it's interesting that the players want a lower salary floor than the owners do.
But they don't, though, because the players want 150 million, right?
Right, but that also includes their benefits too.
Oh, they want 150 with benefits.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same argument.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right?
I didn't realize that the players had that same thing in there.
Yeah, they didn't counter it. They didn't. That's not pulled out.
Okay.
The salary the players get or the salaries the players get with the benefits, right? So
Okay.
that same number would be counted either way.
Okay.
So, and even if it wasn't, that's a difference of $2 million, right? So
Right. You're there.
you're right there. So they agree
Yeah.
on that, and it's just a little weird that the owners in this case want more of a payout than the players do, which I think is kind of weird. But I also think that it's great that they both agree they want to end blackouts, which if you live here in Utah and you are a fan of any other team but the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, you're screwed out of about 30 to 40 games a year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a nightmare.
Do not live in Vegas, by the way. That absolutely sucks. In Vegas, you're blocked out from like 8 different teams if you're in Vegas.
Yeah, because you're Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks, Rockies, A's, Giants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's
Yep.
literally all of those teams too. Probably the Mariners.
Yeah, and the Rockies. Yeah. Did you say the Rockies?
I said the Rockies. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they're basically like 7 teams that you can't watch. And I think there's another one up in the East that there's someone who told me that they're blocked out of like 15 teams
Yeah.
because of the regional sport network.
Blackouts
So
are ridiculous though,
It's
dude.
a little nutty, you know, and that's why I want to talk about our channel sponsor this week, which is just kidding. We don't have a sponsor for a VPN. That would be dope though.
Surfshark, hit us up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's who I use.
Holler at your boy. Hey, dude, me too. Right on.
Oh, hell yeah.
We gotta talk to him.
Yeah.
Gotta reach out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so some of the things that I noticed that surprised me is that the owners, again, want a higher salary floor than the players do. Something else that was kind of surprising is that MLB's proposal has 2/3 of the league out of compliance with their own offer, AJ.
Right.
You have 12 teams that are under the salary floor. 12 teams, AJ. 12. Okay? 12.
How
okay?
many?
There's 12 of them, AJ. And this is a united front of all owners.
Yeah.
Okay? So you're telling me there are 12 teams that aren't paying 171 now that will agree to do it next season?
Right.
Like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And there are some teams that are more than $50 million under this, AJ. They're just like, okay, sure, we'll pay, we'll double, almost triple our payroll.
Yeah, not a big deal.
There's a team last year that was at $72 million in payrolls. I think it was Sacramento A's. They're going to spend $100 million more next year? Like, what?
They're just going to overpay the out of some people.
So you're telling me they could pay more, but they just decided not to, is basically what you're
They're
telling
like,
me.
no, we're good.
So when the players are talking about their thing where they're saying, oh, we need to end tanking, anybody who says there's tanking in baseball just doesn't watch baseball. There's no tanking.
No.
There's greedy owners. That's all there is. They want to make money. That's all they care about.
Yeah.
They'll make the bare minimum. They'll pay the bare minimum they have to before getting in trouble. But other than that, it's just a cash grab for them. They don't care if they get good players. They just want to make money. There's no such thing in tanking in baseball. Now, the other side of it there is that there are also 8 teams, AJ, that are over the cap. So there are 8 teams that are over $245 million, which are the Braves, and this is coming from descending order, the Braves, the Padres, Red Sox, Phillies, Blue Jays, Mets, Yankees, and, of course, the Dodgers, right? So
Go Braves.
those last 3 teams are going to have to shed their payroll by over $100 million. At least.
Oh, yeah.
So the Braves, Mets, sorry, the
No,
Yankees.
the Braves are only 266.
Yeah. So I'm saying the Dodgers,
We only
Mets,
gotta
and
shed
Yankees, $100 million are going to have to shave off their payroll.
Yeah.
You're telling me they agreed to do this?
Yeah.
Like, okay,
That's
don't worry. We have
wild.
guaranteed contracts, and we're just going to eat $100 million and pay it out of our own pocket for, however long. Like,
Yeah, but how does that work? Because you can't go over the hard salary cap, right?
no. So what are you going to do?
Just trade them away?
What about teams with no trade clause? It's like Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only making $2 million a year, so I guess it's not really that big a deal.
Yeah, he's definitely not one you're trading away.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, man. Like, here's a united front of all the owners. 12 teams agreed to drastically increase their payroll for this.
Yeah.
I mean, they could pay for it. They just haven't. So every single team that's crying wah, every fan that's crying wah, my teams can't pay with that. Your owner just agreed to pay $171 million in payroll. Minimum. So if they are not paying that now, that means they can and they won't.
Yeah.
Right? So that should piss you off. Secondly, I don't know how these teams, the Braves, maybe the Braves, they're like $5 million off of that. They just don't sign one pitcher and they're fine.
They're actually $21 million off. Braves payroll is 266.
Oh, I had it in 254.
Oh,
According
I
to
just looked it up.
Spot Track.
Yeah, I just looked it up before.
Okay.
266.
Okay. So, yeah. So we got all these teams right that are above it. We got all these teams that are below it. But a lot of these teams, they agreed just to cut their payroll just to meet this, like, and all the revenue sharing. Like, I don't see how the Dodgers and Yankees will agree to share, like, pool all their revenue for their TV money because they're giving more than they're getting out of that.
Way more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really make a lot of sense, especially with the Dodgers with their cushy TV rights deal. How they don't have to pay as much as everybody else because of the whole McCourt era. They're just going to give that up.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense to me. And the only reason why I think of is because the owners, and this is my minutia of this, right? The owners know that there's no way on God's green earth this deal ever goes through.
Right.
So they are starting off as far as they can and just expecting it to go more towards the center. They're going to start with a lower floor and a higher cap, and to the point where they get rid of one or the other, if not both, and then come to some kind of other agreement elsewhere. But that's kind of what I'm thinking out. This statement was made in no good faith from the ownership. They know that 90% of this is not going to get through. It's only those 2 things that they actually agree on that we might see some movement on. That's my take on this.
So my question for you, is lockout inevitable at this point?
Actually, I'm probably one of the others. Everybody's like saying it's like 90% or 100%. I was at 90% before I saw this, but where they're actually meeting in the middle already, I'm down to like 75% there's a lockout.
Okay.
I'm actually more optimistic. We're talking like June 1st was exactly 6 months away from when this thing expires, right? So the current CBA expires. We're already one proposal from each side, and we already agree on 2 things, right? So like common ground can be met as long as they continue to meet in good faith and no one like gets like their feelings hurt. We could see some progression towards the center. So lockout, I'm down from 90 to 75%. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I think it's probably a lot lower. But speaking of June 1st, that's a great segue into our next segment. Hey, Darren, did you know?
A segue. Well, before we get into that,
Bam.
should we hit these comments?
Oh,
real
yeah,
quick?
yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead and scroll up here. Let's see here.
Hawkins.
What is this one? Let's see here. Cheesegates like Ricketts will totally support the salary cap. I like it. Jed Hoyer will never spend again. Yeah, I don't know about that, man. I don't. I really, really don't.
Not like he was spending much before.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was like, thinking of. And then we also have, so this is what I was talking about. Yeah, Iowa had 16 blackouts. Cubs, White Sox, Brewers, Twins, Cardinals, and Royals.
That is brutal.
I think it's Virginia. Virginia has blocked out of Braves, Rays, Pittsburgh, White Sox. There's I can't remember somewhere.
Yeah, some of these blackout markets are like crazy.
Yeah. Friend of the channel, Tommy Price. Blackouts are ridiculous. And then we have, there's no taking in baseball, just bad teams. I'd argue that there's just bad ownership. That's what I would say.
Yeah, bad ownership that makes bad teams. They're just we'll just make money.
There's 5 teams that have been bottom feeders for over a decade that spent a little bit of money. Not a lot. They signed 2 mid-level players.
Yeah.
And those teams are leading, and one of those teams are leading their division. It's kind of okay, you can say you can never catch the Dodgers, but you don't have to spend $400 million.
No.
Just spend a little bit. Just a little bit. Cut into that.
Maybe $171 million.
Yeah, maybe 171. I like this comment. Dodgers are in favor of it because they can spend less and meet the team cap, saves the Guggenheim money. Yeah, but what are they going to do with it? What are they going to do? Trade half their team to get under that number? They're not going to do that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, there's got to be a loophole in there somewhere.
But it's there's no way around it. A hard cap is a hard cap, right? So
yeah.
By the way, did you count how many times that I thought this was interesting in the players and the owners? You know how many times that they mentioned the Dodgers by name?
No.
18 times.
Dodgers are ruining everything, man. We did a video on that. Make sure you guys check that out.
Yeah. And we got another comment here from Greg Hawkins. Let's see here. They can buy Disneyland or something with it. Pretty sure that was the Angels that did that, right? It was Disney that bought the Angels. Yeah. All right, but let's go ahead and jump into our next segment there. We talked about we're 6 months away from the CBA, but what's also most important about this?
June 1st, man. June 1st. I don't know if you guys are aware, but June 1st serves as a highly reliable indicator of who will ultimately make the postseason. Since the advent of the wild card era in 1996, nearly 60% of teams holding at least a share of their division lead on June 1st have gone on to win their division. So, it's early enough for teams to kind of make, a comeback. It's not saying that all of them are too far gone, but the first 2 months are usually a pretty good kind of indicator of what the season could be. And, players have had enough at bats, teams have had enough, their pitchers in enough rotations, kind of gives you an idea. So I don't know, man. That's kind of crazy. How do you feel about the current leaders in both of these in both leagues? Yeah.
So this is a subject we actually did a video on the main channel, D-Day Sports Recap. If you have not, check it out, subscribe. It's one of our earlier videos.
Yeah.
So hopefully this one's a little bit more polished. But let's go ahead and talk about the current leaders on the American League side, right? So on the AL East, we got the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yep.
They're at 36-23. They lead the Yankees by a game. In the Central, we have the Cleveland Guardians. They're 35-27. They lead the White Sox by a game and a half. And then in the AL East, we have the Seattle Mariners, who lead the Rangers by a game and a half as well. On the National League side, we have the Atlanta Braves, who are 40.
Braves.
They are 41-20. They have a 9.5 game lead on the Phillies. 9.5 game lead. Then in the MLB Central, we have the Milwaukee Brewers, who lead the Pittsburgh Pirates by 3.5 games. And then in the West, we have the Dodgers, 39-22. They lead the San Diego Padres by 4.5 games. So that's where the standings are. So 60% of those teams are going to have their division by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And so who do you think are going to be the teams that fall out of the AL? Is there a team in the AL that you think is going to fall out?
Yes. I think that the Yankees could pass the Rays. The Yankees have just kind of they've gone a little bit more of a tear lately. I could see them excelling as the weather kind of warms up. Mm-hmm. Ball flies a little further in warm weather.
Short
win a
portion,
few more games, past the Rays to kind of get to take that division. I think the Rays will definitely make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I could see the Yankees passing the Rays for the division lead.
Yeah, I concur. As far as my 40%, I think spot on. One of those teams is definitely going to be the Yankees. Just a few other things. Their rotation is better. They got Cole back. You have Max Fried. and not to mention Schlittler and some of the other pitchers they have on that team, that it just, continue to shove. Judge, you can never count him out. And, you got, who's the kid I'm thinking of that I can't remember off the top of my head? Anyway, their first baseman that for some reason their coach did not want to play. He's like, oh, I like having him come in those spot choices when I get to put him in the lineup. I'm like, this guy's batting over 500 for you as a bench role. Like, just let him play, And ever since then, they kind of took off and went on a couple of runs, and they scaled back a little bit. But you're right, they're a hot team right now, and I agree with you on that one. Who's your other team?
I would say the Guardians probably have the next best chance of losing, and I think they could lose it to the White Sox. Yes, Darren, you heard that right. The White Sox.
Okay, run your line on this one. I want to hear it.
I just think that Munetaka Murakami has just been great for the White Sox this year. They've had some great pitching from Davis Martin, Eric Fetty, and they got Dominguez coming out of the bullpen in safe situations. They've looked like a team that's kind of on a mission after a lot of really tough baseball years for the White Sox. All of a sudden, I feel like they've got a little bit of momentum. I don't know how the Guardians keep winning. They do, but they're not on a tear of any sort. They're like, they'll lose a series here and lose a series there, and
win like 8 straight,
and then they'll win 8 straight. Yeah, exactly. They'll lose 2 out of 3, and then win 8 straight. So it's like, I don't know if that's super sustainable for the Guardians. I could see the White Sox taking them and winning the division, which would be really cool for a team that was the bottom feeder of the league for 3 years.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to see a team that has back-to-back 100-loss seasons to win their division the next
Absolutely,
year.
yeah.
That'd be awesome. And I am fully a believer in the magic of Murakami, man. Right now, he's 3rd in MLB in home runs with 20.
Dude is just smashing the baseball. Dude. It's insane.
Guy is fun to watch, right?
Yeah.
Like, people are like, oh, what's your favorite part about your game? He's like, power.
Power.
I have power. I'm just like, dude, yeah, that guy's got it, man.
He's got it. He's got it figured out. Yeah.
He knows what he's good for, man, for sure. But yeah, I just think it's pretty funny, man. There's a lot to go into with that. But I think, June 1st is always a good indication. And you and I are actually spot on both of those.
Yeah.
I definitely think as far as the AL West, I think the Mariners are actually going to win this one.
I agree. The Mariners got better at the end of last year.
They played better, yeah.
Yeah, like as the season got further in, the Mariners got better and better. It was like, this team's actually looking scary, and they did. I mean, they made a great run. So I don't know if I feel like they'll continue to get better throughout the rest of this year, and I think we're kind of yet to see the Mariners' best baseball. Game and a half lead over the Rangers. I think they could probably put a little bit of fluff on that by the end of the season.
Speaking of which, I think both of our bold predictions are in danger right now.
My bold prediction was the Phillies missed the playoffs.
Yeah, but they're on a tear, dude. I know they're an 8.5 game back.
On a tear, but come on.
They're like 2 games out of a wild card position right now.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Okay, maybe you're right.
You're like, I don't know how close they are. Correct me if the comments are wrong, but I think they're like 2.5, 3 games out of a
wild card spot. Okay.
And then mine was the Athletics were going to win their division, so not looking good so far.
Not looking great. It's fine.
It's good. It's a bold prediction for a reason, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah. So let's go ahead.
Mine's still got a chance.
Yeah. I hate autocorrect, dude. I hate autocorrect because it changed mine from Scooball to Skull.
It does it so much.
I hate it. I'm like, why am I talking about a skull? Anyway, so last week, AJ brought up a subject that I felt deserved a deeper dive into it. We talked about the rumors around the Tigers potentially trading Tarek Skubal if the Detroit Tigers don't turn things around. Tammy, a friend of the channel, Tammy Price, mentioned that it's either going to be the Braves or the Dodgers. So we thought it would be kind of fun if we each made a pitch for why we think our team is going to win the Tarek Skubal sweepstakes. AJ?
Yeah. So why not the Braves, man?
That's always a good argument. We start with why not?
Why not the Braves? Okay, the Braves have they've got a pretty good pipeline of prospects that they could trade. I don't know if it's worth it for trading that many prospects to get Skubal. Okay, I will say that, but they're one of the best teams in baseball. The offense has been great for the better part of the year. You're going to join a pitching staff that has had great success with Sale, Strider, Bryce Elder, Grant Holmes. I mean, they still got Spencer Schwellenbach. You've got the ability to give one of these guys, run 5-6 guys. You got Derek Skubal to that nightmare pitching staff. And the biggest thing is he could come to Atlanta and win, right? You could be on a team that's built for the long haul. They've got all these guys on long-term contracts. They've got a bunch of guys on the roster right now that provide a ton of depth. They're able to rotate guys in and out. I mean, we've got guys like Mauricio Dubon that can come in and play shortstop one game and play left field the next and plays fantastic in both positions. They got a great bullpen. Raciel Iglesias has 11 saves. He is 11 for 11 on saves so far this season. Nice. So you've got great support coming out of the bullpen. If you can keep it close and the Braves offense sputters in late innings, you've got, a good bullpen behind you. I don't know, man. I think that the Braves is a great choice for Skubal because you can come here. I don't know if they sign him long term, but I think if you want to come and have a chance to compete for a world a World Series this year, join the Braves.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he really has a say in it.
No, and I understand that.
it's a trade.
Yeah, I get that. But I'm saying it's one of those things that I think the Braves have enough.
Yeah. What I think is super nasty is you think about like in the playoffs, you only really need 4 starters.
Yeah.
So you're going to be using Chris Sale. You've got
Spencer
Strider, and then Tarek Skubal. You're starting with Skubal, Snell, 2 Cy Young Award winners on top of your rotation. And then you add Strider, who, if he stayed healthy, would be a frontline contender for Cy Young every year.
Yep. Spencer Schwellenbach had a fantastic season last year.
Yeah. Is he back from the IL?
He's not quite yet. I think he's got another 30 days.
Okay. Well, I'll wait until just let him get informed by then, by the end of it. And,
yep.
Yeah, that could be scary, man.
Yeah.
It can be scary. All right. So I love it, man. Love the pitch for the Braves there. All right. So let me say my part about how I think the Dodgers are going to do this, right?
Okay.
And why the Dodgers should win the Tarek Skubal sweepstakes. So we need to be honest for ourselves as fans, okay? The team that trades for Skubal is going to be getting him for less than half a season. So maybe like 8 starts before the playoffs.
Yep.
The Tigers are rumored to want something that's pretty impressive for this guy. Now, the longer they wait, the less that package actually gets. And he still has to ramp up. He still has to show something that he's still the guy he was, before any team agrees to trade for him. And the team has to not get back on it to be willing to trade him in the first place. All that said, let's say health and everything's perfectly fine, right? You want to have that, right? What's rumored that the Tigers want back for him is a frontline capable starter and a top outfield prospect that is MLB ready, possibly multiples of either or. So can the Dodgers make the best offer? Between the 2 teams that we're talking about, absolutely. The reason why is there's only 2 teams that are above the Dodgers in farm system, strength of their farm system. One of those I don't want getting it, which is the Brewers, and the other one is the Pirates. According to Jim Bowden, it's likely the Dodgers could trade Justin Robleski or Emmett Sheehan, which is the Dodgers' 5th and 6th starter, which would be number 2 starter on pretty much any other rotation out there.
Yeah.
And the outfield prospects are going to be Zaire Hope, Josue DePaula, or Eduardo Quintero, right? Not to mention even their best pitching prospect, River Ryan, right? So these are like all the names that have been floating around that the Tigers could possibly be interested in to get Skubal. Again, like you said, you're paying for a rental here. And you said one of the things that you don't think the Braves would do is you don't think they would trade their best minor league capital for the way they do business, because that's their next 10 years. They probably aren't going to trade that away for a rental of Skubal, because they're probably not going to sign Tarek Skubal to a $400 million contract.
Right.
That'd be like doubling their biggest contract they've ever had. So they would basically just be doing a rental here.
Yeah. They're just hoping to go all in this year.
Who knows? We even have baseball next year.
Maybe,
just full set.
Maybe you trade Spencer Schwellenbach and J.R. Ritchie. J.R. Ritchie's one of their top. I mean, he's pitched 3-4 games, looked really good in a couple of them. Schwellenbach, Ritchie, they've got some good outfield prospects.
Yeah, take those, bundle them in, send them over there.
Yep.
Just write them out.
And now you're running Sale, Strider, Elder, Holmes, Skubal.
Yeah, you're probably going Skubal, Sale, Strider.
Right. In the
But,
playoffs.
yeah.
Right.
But like, I would say, like, that's what you'd have to hope that they would do. Right?
Yeah.
They're just gonna be like, at full send, we probably won't even have baseball next year. Let's just go for it.
Yep.
Right. The Dodgers would definitely do that for several reasons. One, again, they're going to have to shed $100 million in payroll next year, probably,
Potentially.
if that deal gets happened. And
Yeah.
if there's a strike, it doesn't matter, right? There's something on the Dodgers ledger that's not on any ledger and has not been on any ledger in professional sports since Kobe Bryant, which is a three-peat. Nobody has done that since Kobe Bryant three-peated with the Lakers way back in the day with,
Right.
was it Kobe or was that with Gasol? Can't remember which one the three-peat was with. Anyway, it's been that long, right? And it definitely has not happened in baseball.
Late 90s, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely hasn't.
No, that's actually early 2000s.
Yeah, and that definitely hasn't happened in baseball since 1998, 2001, 2000, and that with the Yankees, right? So, the Dodgers are going for that, right? Would they be willing to trade all their prospects, some of their top prospects? Honestly, this isn't even really scratching their top of their prospect list.
Yeah.
They're at worst, third best in baseball in farm system. Would they do this for a short term? Yeah, wouldn't mean anything to them.
Yeah.
Definitely would do this. Wouldn't
Yeah.
even be a drop in the bucket. And then on top of that, I think if I am a fan and I am being honest, there is one reason and one reason only why the Dodgers do this. It keeps him off of a few teams that you do not want to have him on their team in the playoffs.
Yep.
That's it.
Like the Braves.
No, not the Braves. But again, there are two teams that they could see. Like, do you really want to face the Brewers in a 7-game series when you have to face Scooball and the Miz twice?
I think that's the same thing for the Braves.
Well,
Okay, just for the record.
they dunked on Chris Sale pretty easily. The Dodgers did, but they did lose to Strider and they did lose to
Elder.
Right. So, like I'm saying like that team last year was very potent against the Dodgers in the regular season. The Dodgers swept them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right. You add Tarek Skubal to that team in the playoffs in the National Championship Series.
It's scary.
It's scary. And
Yeah.
we'll probably run into them on a shorter game series. Imagine 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Right. Let's hope they get that top spot for the buys, like the Braves and the Dodgers get the buys, right?
Yeah.
In the National League. You want to that's just something you don't want to see in a short series. Right. So, that would be pretty dangerous. And then also there's some other teams that, I want to get into, but yeah, there's absolutely that I don't want to get into, but absolutely the Dodgers would seriously trade away a good chunk of their draft of their prospect capital simply just to keep this guy off of some other teams to secure a three-peat. Like, they would do this 100%.
Yeah.
Now,
I could see that happening.
Yeah. Will the Dodgers do that? For those two reasons, yeah, I think they would. Now, all the other teams that would want him, would they be able to give as much as the Dodgers could give? The Brewers could. That's why I mentioned the Brewers specifically, because they have a better farm system than the Dodgers do.
Yeah.
So, honestly, AJ, if we break it all down to one thing both you and I can agree on is that we just really hope he doesn't end up on the Phillies.
That is correct. Don't be on the Phillies. Go anywhere but Philadelphia.
Sanchez, Wheeler, and Skubal.
Yeah, yeah, don't end up on the Phillies.
Yeah. He, like the Delta for the Dodgers, he doesn't improve the Dodgers that much.
Right.
You got Yamamoto, who pitched the whole World Series by himself last year. Shohei Ohtani, who's leading the league in ERA.
It's
right
more
now.
like making sure he's not somewhere else.
Yes, that the Dodgers
Yeah.
have to worry about. And that's why they didn't want to have him. So, anyway, we just thought that'd be a fun little experiment. We chat back and forth about that,
Yeah.
which is fun. Let's see here. We've got a comment from a friend of the channel, Tommy Price. The only one thing against the Dodgers is he already had surgery. It seems like a lot of our pitching acquisitions need surgery. Okay, so you're following the old, what was that? The old, who is that? Was that Tommy Lasorda that said that? There are two types of pitchers, those who had Tommy John and those who are going to have Tommy John? Like, is that who?
Yeah, I think so.
It was either Tommy Lasorda or Billy Bean, one of the two. I can't remember. But sure, absolutely. All right, you got a random baseball subject?
I do, and it's actually it's a random baseball question this year, or this year.
Okay,
Yeah,
see you next year, guys.
This is the only one. Sorry, we're out.
Lockout. We're locking out early.
I got a question on the American League. There's not really a race for the NL MVP. That's kind of set in stone. Shohei's got that pretty much. I mean, betting odds are like minus 150 on him. So,
Do you know who's second?
no,
Isn't it still Matt Olson?
no,
Oh, dang.
it's definitely not Matt Olson.
By the way, did you see what he did, though?
Which one? He's done a lot of things.
More importantly, what he did yesterday. So he's the current Iron Man. By the way, if you ever call him that, I'm going to punch you in the face. Because there is only one Iron Man in baseball, is Cal Ripken Jr.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So when people put that in an article, I'm just like
3,000 career games in a row or some shit. It's
I know he's got the current longest streak right now.
Yeah, but it's like 600 games.
Yeah. But he hit a home run on Tuesday, which is the day we honor Lou Gehrig.
Right.
Which I think is awesome. Anyway, sorry. Back to what you
I
said.
did watch the home run. Didn't realize that, though. But anyways, so AL MVP race. I want to know if you think that Bobby Witt Jr. can pass Aaron Judge and break through to win the MVP. And what do you think he needs? So I'll give you some of their stats. Okay, so right now, Bobby Witt Jr. is hitting 282, 9 home runs, 26 RBIs, 19 stolen bases. SB equals MVP.
That's right.
If you know, you know. And Aaron Judge is currently hitting 248 with 17 home runs, 38 RBIs, and 5 stolen bases. What do you think Bobby Witt Jr. needs to pass Aaron Judge to really kind of take a step up in that AL MVP race?
I hate to say this because Judge is on my fantasy team.
Yeah.
And he's missing the second day in a row with a bone bruise.
Yeah.
I say that the only thing Bobby Witt Jr. has to do is stay healthy.
Yeah.
Because I think that at some point, Judge is going to hit the IL, and it's going to be for, whatever reason. It's going to be longer than 2 games. I just think his health, he's been relatively healthy most of this year. Every year he has a stint where he falls down, and he's just not nearly as far at this point in the season than he normally is when it comes to like home runs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
His batting average is a little low. I don't know what his WAR is at this year. Honestly, he's still a top 3 player in baseball. It's still going to go down as the greatest, right-handed hitter of all time, in my opinion. Aaron Judge will be. But I think Bobby Witt Jr. is putting up I think he's leading the league with the exception, leading the American League in WAR right now.
Yeah.
Who's leading in all of baseball?
Shohei?
No, Paez.
Paez is?
Yeah, the Dodgers center fielder.
No way.
Yeah, leading all baseball in WAR so far this year, which is interesting.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, but I think he leads the league in defensive runs above saved, and I think he's doing everything he needs to do. He's having an MVP caliber season, and as long as he stays healthy, stays on the field, keeps producing the way he is, I think it's gonna be a tough choice for someone not to choose him over Judge.
I am such a big fan of Bobby Witt Jr. He is such a good player, man.
He really is.
Defensively, he is lights out, dude.
And there might be some voter fatigue on that too.
On the Aaron Judge?
Yeah, just like Shohei, but when he's pitching below a 1 ERA.
He just dominates in a different way every single year. And I'm not a Dodgers fan, but how can you not love what Shohei does every single year?
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to watch. Even when you watch him strike out in the important at-bats, he's still like...
You're
just like, oh, geez, dude. He says, I want to win a Cy Young, and all of a sudden he's got the best ERA in baseball. So, by the way, our top DNA Sports Recap hat to a Christopher Sanchez of the Phillies.
Uh-huh.
His run of scoreless innings came to an end.
Oh, it finally did?
Yeah. So he did not
What
pass.
a loser.
He did not pass the Bulldog. But hey, good show, old chap. Keep it
Yeah,
up.
absolutely. And screw the Phillies.
Yeah. Well, I got an interesting one. Greg, you're going to like this one. Did you see what happens with what Pico Armstrong did when he faced getting booed and heckled?
I did not see this.
Okay, this is great. I think it was against the Cubs. I think it was against the Cardinals. The Cubs were playing the Cardinals, right? And they have that whole tarps off section going on in a lot of baseball games right now.
Yeah.
Which is where they take it over an entire section, take their shirts off,
And it started in college football last season.
Yeah. But, baseball's really kind of taking up it. They're doing it. They're having fun with it, right? And every time Pico Armstrong came up to the plate, they chanted, overrated, overrated, right? Just constantly taunting the guy. And, he shut him up. He hit a ball. He got a hit, right? And they just, next at bat, he comes up, he gets another single, right? And they just keep taunting him. And like, overrated. Just keeps chirping at him, right? And what he does then, which is something that just any Major League Baseball player that ever gets taunted will ever do. He hits a bomb not only a home run, but a home run directly into the tarps off section that is standing there chanting overrated at him. He hits a home run right at him.
That is awesome.
It's really funny because they
like, overrate this. Boom.
Because they were kind of talking about how he had his own little PCA curse. Like ever since he told that lady to go do something nice for him, he actually was like 3 for like 35 since then, and the Cubs were on a downslide.
Yeah, he was struggling
Ever since then. So like they think that lady might have cursed him. Maybe she was like a form of witchcraft or something.
It happens.
So
that's real life in Chicago.
But hey, that kind of karma would definitely go a long way. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. I as a P. Crow hater, I guess I love entertaining players in baseball. But you gotta tip your cap to that dude. That's awesome. Be able to hit a bomb directly at directly a whole section of hecklers. You gotta love it, dude.
Yeah,
gotta love it.
Legendary.
All right, man. Well, again, we want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below when it comes to baseball. What are your thoughts regarding the CBA negotiations, the owner side, player side? Do you think lockout's coming? Is your team currently in first place? If not, let's hope they make the wild card, I guess.
Wild card.
We want to hear from you. Let us know. And if your team is in the running for Scooball, let us know. Argue your case in the comments down below. We want to hear it.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk some Utah Jazz basketball.
Let's do it. Before we get to the content, we like to encourage you to join the conversation in the comments down below. While you're down there, consider subscribing to Utah Jazz DNA. Smash that like button for your boy Darren.
That's right. All right, AJ. Dude, let's first start off by continuing to thank everybody for their continued subscribing to this channel. Utah Jazz DNA.
Yes.
Is at what last time we checked,
it's high.
High relatively for us, right? Like we went from 300 subscribers on this channel, like not even 2 weeks ago, to
1,365.
Yeah, 1,365 at the time of recording. Again,
that's 1,000 in a month.
Again, really appreciate it. Really appreciate all the effort you guys are going into and subscribing to the channel, watching the videos, jumping in the comments. I think this is out of all of our sub channels getting the most comments and the most interaction, which we love. We try to respond.
It's almost tough to keep up with.
Yeah, we try to respond to every single one of them. Keep in mind that is us. That is not just like the auto commenter. That's not somebody else doing it. That's me and AJ jumping in there and actually making a educated statement. Some of them educated, sometimes maybe not.
Sometimes it might be a smart ass statement. It
Either
depends
way,
on what you say.
It is it's the fun of it, right?
Yeah.
So again, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys for joining us. We absolutely love you guys watching it and joining us, and to all the OGs that have been around since we started this channel. Again, love you guys. Appreciate it. Keep it going.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into the subjects we want to talk about, which first is, AJ, the time is now.
Yes.
So, this was a fact that we talked about a little bit with the draft lottery and, how things went down for the Utah Jazz for the Utah Jazz this year. We now know that this was probably the last time we're going to see it that way because the way the league is flat in the odds starting next year, right? So they're flat in the odds, which is going to make the 3 worst teams in basketball not have the best odds to win the number 1 overall pick, right?
Yep.
Mark Cuban tweeted out on the X. Why is it called still a tweet if it's on X? You can't say he X'd it.
That's a great point.
He still say
he
tweet.
Tweeted on X.
He tweeted on X. He still called it a tweet.
He posted
right?
on X.
Posted, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
He basically said on X. I'm still never going to call it that. When you flatten the odds, the number of trades will explode. It is impossible to know who is going to win the tankathon in the off season, and leading tankers are not going to trade those picks at the deadline. Basically saying that what he's saying there is basically echoing amongst other owners as well, is that the way to build through the draft is nigh, right? The end of it is nigh.
Yeah.
And that is the backbone of the Utah Jazz team builds, is through the draft. Free agents do not want to come to Utah in the NBA. If you need me to point to evidence on that, just look it up. There's plenty of evidence out there.
We've done multiple videos on it as well.
And if you're in denial on why that is, I can't help you. It's a fact. Okay. We don't come to comments. I don't want to hear any of the comments are saying, actually, Darren, we know the free agents that signed was these guys that we overpaid or these guys that were way past their prime. We don't want to hear that. Right. And also in this age of LeBron's player empowerment era, players now have that are good enough now have the ability to block trades. So the only players we actually want to trade for to get over here, have the power to block the trade.
They just say no.
Drew Holiday, Kevin Love, ironically. There's also, Bradley.
He couldn't block it twice.
Yeah, couldn't block it twice. It wasn't good enough anymore. But the fact that that's happening all over, players are blocking trades, and they're refusing to show up if they don't go where they want to go. So that's also, trades are not possible for the Jazz either. So the only way they could rebuild this team is through the draft. So while we don't see a rebuild coming anytime soon, just keep in mind that is what I'm telling you. There is no next rebuild, AJ. The time is now. This team has to find a way to make it happen with this core. If we win a championship and this team looks like it can be sustained with a level of success over several years, then maybe we can change the narrative going forward. But there is no tomorrow for this team right now, AJ. They need to win with this core.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The best part about it is the Jazz have all the pieces you could ask for. I mean, when you're building an NBA roster, you've got a defensive big man, you've got a 7-footer that can score from absolutely anywhere on the court. You've got a previous defensive player of the year. You got a super talented budding star in a shooting guard, and then you've got lottery picks in the starting rotation and on the bench. You got talent everywhere. You've also got a bunch of veterans on a bench these guys are just willing to play and do whatever you need of them. Right? You've got the Yusuf Nurkic's, you've got these players that have been really key to the little bit of success that we've seen over the last couple of years. And if I told you 4 years ago that that's what this roster was going to look like at this point, I don't know if you'd have believed me.
No.
Think about that. Defensive big man, 7-footer, defensive player of the year. You're like, oh, we didn't trade Rudy Gobert. You know what I mean? Like we didn't trade Donovan Mitchell in a super talented budding star at shooting guard, right? Like, so we've got the pieces right this minute. And the big question is winning. You know what I mean? Winning. And you have the talent. Can it translate onto the floor? Because that's everything, right? This team has to gel fast enough so that when they get out there, you can see it immediately. And that's really the concern is, can they turn it into the success during an 82-game season? Because that's a long season. That is you're going to deal with injuries at some point. And if they don't, how quickly do they pivot? You know what I mean? Where do you go with it? And I mean, I would think with, the upcoming payroll, which, we broke that down in last week's video. I'll put it up there. But
thanks to everybody who watched that video, by the way.
Yeah. But that was, it kind of went into payroll and what we can expect. But the Jazz are going to give this team this season, and they're going to see how it looks. And if this team has any bit of success, which I sincerely think they do, just to make the playoffs, this team looks great on paper, man. They look great. You add a top 2 pick to this, and it looks even better. You're in one of the most talented drafts that we've ever seen. This team has the ability to come together now, and man, am I so ready for it. I'm so ready to see the Jazz win basketball games again.
I'm so ready for them to try and win a basketball game again.
Just try to win a basketball game.
Like, that's going to just be such a relief.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be so nice. Even if they don't win, like, the fact that they're going to try the whole game is just going to be so awesome. So refreshing. It's going to be great.
So much better content when the Jazz are trying to win.
But yeah,
what's crazy is, since we've done this show, the Jazz have not been trying to win basketball games.
Right? And how many times do we say they're pushing the chips in the middle with this trade?
This is it. They're pushing them in.
They're going for it. And every time, internal Jazz optimist over there.
It's usually me.
And I'm just like,
that's it.
Though.
The rebuild's over, Darren. This is it.
We signed Triple J. They're going to go for it. I'm like, no, they're not.
Yeah, he was correct.
Yeah, well, it's all right. You can always hope for the best and,
but I'm the eternal optimist.
Manifest it, make it happen.
Yeah.
I like this comment here from Greg Hawkins. He says that the people who think NBA free agents want to be here in Utah are the same who think that Salt Lake City has a great nightlife.
I actually like night lift, and I picture like a car at night going onto a lift. That'd be better.
That would be super cool.
But they don't have a great night lift either.
Yeah, I think a lot of Jazz free agents would love to see that.
Yeah.
A car going on a lift. That'd be great. We also got another comment here from Craig Shepard, B5H, agreed. Jazz have the talent, but they don't have the.
But do they have the toughness?
But do they have the toughness to play hurt and go deep into the playoffs? That's a great question.
That is a great question, and I think that they do. I think that they are deep enough to make a run into the playoffs. I think they have the ability to sustain some injuries. I'll be really curious to see what guys like Bryce Sensabaugh do this. Bryce Sensabaugh, Cody Williams, Flip. How are these guys going to adjust their roles, through some of these injuries and still keep the team productive, right? Go out there and make the most out of the minutes that you get. We know injuries are going to happen. They always do. None of these guys are bulletproof.
Right.
But if they can adjust their role and keep themselves ready to go in and make a difference when they're out there, man, this team could be dangerous.
Yeah, I think you predicted that they're going to win 50 games next year. So
I did. That is on the internet.
Yeah, that is on the internet. That is a true thing. We set that bar. He thinks they're going to get 50. I think they're going to be lower, around 45 to 47, but still pretty optimistic, I'd say.
Yeah.
I have a team based up, that won 27 games.
Yeah.
Last year, so it's going to be quite a jump.
They're just going to double it, man.
Yeah, but yeah, again, they're going to have
the Jazz might win 50 in a row. They might start the season 50-0, Darren, and then what are you going to say?
That'd be great. This is one of the things where I'm absolutely happy to be wrong, AJ. Absolutely happy to be wrong. But yeah, to Craig's comment there, I definitely think this team, there's a lot of last year where they were hurt.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of,
and we've had a ton of discussion about it too.
Yeah. And I think that with Walker Kessler, his injuries, those are not like injury prone injuries. These are like, that stupid player for the Sacramento team hyperextended his elbow that one year, and then he dislocated his shoulder that one time. These are fluke injuries. These aren't like chronic knee, ankle, back issues, right? So
yeah,
these are just all fluke things. I think he's going to be able to have Triple J.
But
looks like
I still
a stud.
think in a regular season, Walker Kessler's back last year.
Oh yeah,
I mean they stretched it out. They're like, yep, no, this one's season ending. Walker, you're done. You're shut down this year.
Yeah, he's like, guys, I could be ready by All-Star break. Nope, shut it down.
No, you're down. Trust me, season ending.
And I think Triple J looks like a stud, dude. He looks pretty. He looks, for the time that we got to see him out there, he looks pretty solid. Larry Marketing is definitely a player who would jump in there and he'll throw his back out, just trying to make a play.
Yeah,
so
maximum effort every single day.
Collier, like that dude's a brick.
Stud.
Yeah, that guy will run through anybody.
Yeah, and didn't have any. I mean, very minimal health issues last year. I think the only time he was sitting down were health issues. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a toe hangnail. Let's sit you down for 5 days.
Yeah.
So there was a whole lot of that happening last year that I just don't see happening this year. And really, the only risk to that is there's a story of the whole not AJ Devonsa, but Darren Peterson. If we get him at 2, that he's got injury issues that we both kind of covered. Not really.
I did see that the Jazz have done all of their medical clearances and are fully on board with drafting Darren Peterson.
Yeah, I heard that they are okay with the medicals. I read that too, and so that just basically decides on whether or not Washington is going to be okay with it.
Oh no, we get AJ Dibansa instead of Darren Peterson.
Yeah, I'm just like, either way. Like I love all the conversations we had about it.
Yeah,
because it made for great content and everything. But
I think
a lot of people are overthinking this way too much. Some of the comments had great trade options though. Did you read those? Those were pretty cool.
There's so many. Thank you guys so much.
We should do a video just on that, like talking about some of those. That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, man, I do want to talk about that. Like you said, they're going to let them run this year, right?
Yep.
And see what happens, and then make roster changes if anything does happen.
Yeah.
But tell me if this story sounds familiar to you, AJ.
Mm-hmm.
So the Utah Jazz have a tall white player from another country, right?
Yeah, Finland.
He has a breakout year with the Utah Jazz, becomes an all-star with the team for the Jazz that was predicted to be nothing special and probably had the lowest win total that they've had in over a decade.
Yep.
He's the team number 1 option and then signs a max extension, and then the team starts to build around him.
Mm-hmm.
And then in a couple of years, they get a great center. They draft an all-star caliber point guard. They trade for a top 5 power forward in the NBA. And suddenly that tall white guy suffers some injuries along the way, but he's no longer the number 1 option. Everyone who is watching this, including probably what you just said there, probably thinks I'm talking about Larry Marketing. But what if I told you I wasn't? What I described was the Chat GPT summary, or the TDLR, too long, did not read, TLDR, sorry, on Andrei Kirilenko. Before he signed a contract with the Jazz, AJ, Andrei Kirilenko's starting rotation was anchored by Carlos Arroyo, Raja Bell, Matt Harpering. Greg Ostertag was on that team too, but I don't even know if he even bothered to show up half the time. But so yeah, that's who he had headlining, and that's who they're like, oh, the Jazz aren't going to win anything. Do you remember Carlos Arroyo?
I do.
those are some good times.
Yeah.
But yeah, then after he signed that max contract. Let's give it about 2 seasons later. The team is now headlined by Darren Williams, Carlos Boozer, Mehmet Okur, and oh, by the way, Paul Millsap was on that team as well. Suddenly, that 6-year, $85 million contract for a fourth player on the team option offensively starts to weigh on the team a little bit, right? If you remember, that contract was haunting this team in the late 2010s. They couldn't improve a team that kept running into Tim Duncan and Tony Parker's Spurs. So, gosh, even the same team they're running into is going to be the same, AJ. Like, it's just, there's just the connections are there.
It's too much.
So, AJ, is Larry going to be the new AK-47? Meaning, does this max contract that we gave him going to hurt this team for being able to make those improvements when they run into the Castle and Wemby Spurs?
Yeah, it's kind of a wild comparison, and it's really funny to think that in the second year of AK's contract, he made like $15 million. Was not even a top 10 player in pay in the league, right? Funny enough, Lauri Markkanen making $46 million next year is not a top 10 paid player in the league.
So you see that the comparisons keep stacking up.
It's wild, dude. And then, and it's funny because the NBA has like the projected salaries, and Lauri makes $49 million, then $53 million. Each of those years, he is not a top 10 player,
right, in
pay in the league. But I mean, Lauri earned his contract after the 22-23 season, right? He averaged 25.6 points, 8.6 rebounds, 1.9 assists, shot 39% from three, went on to win the NBA's most improved player award that year. So I think the stat that sticks out most to me, and to answer your question simply, no, I do not think that's going to be the case. I think that Lauri will continue to provide value for this team. I think he's the number one option, and I think he will still be the number one option next year. His stats the year after they signed their contracts, Lauri's went, his career stats are 18.9. AK's career stats ended at 11.8 points per game.
Well, that's not where AK's value was, but that's okay.
I know his value was in assists, rebounds. You know what I mean? He did it all, right? He was the 5x5 guy.
Yeah.
But he still only averaged 2.7 assists for his career. Not as impressive as you'd think him always being a 5x5 player.
No.
That was like, when I think AK, it's like, 5x5. But to say that value is declining with his age, that's kind of always a standard thing, right? Lauri's 29 years old and on a very close to max contract. But when his contract expires, he'll be 32. Funny enough, AK was 25 when he signed a 7-year contract, or a 6-year. His contract will end when he was 31. So there's all these weird. It is so funny, but
yeah. The biggest part about this, man, and the reason why I agree with you there that it's a little different is, first of all, there's too many comparisons to ignore. That this contract could have potentially been that way. Yeah. Also, keep in mind that the Jazz, like when the Jazz got him, you remember our starting rotation that was a good rotation, but was no longer on the team, and we weren't trying to win games the next 2 years.
Correct.
So
3 years.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So very similar to AK. He was dealing with a bunch. We drafted Darren Williams, right? And we got Mehmet Okur. The players they got were the exact same way that the Jazz are getting players now.
Yeah.
Around him, exactly 2 years after, right? Is how this team is starting to be formed. The thing about it is that the Lauri Markkanen contract only has 2 more seasons on it. The Andre Karolinko contract had 4 years left on it.
Exactly. That is exactly where I was going, though.
Okay.
The biggest thing is Lauri's contract is only a 4-year deal. And yes, it is mucho more money. You know what I mean? Paying somebody $50 million versus, and I understand it at the time.
Percentage of the cap.
Yeah. At the time, yeah, it's all in relation to the cap. But Lauri will still be the number one option on this team next year, in my opinion.
Really?
I don't. Who's going to be the number one option?
Oh gosh, I would think Keontae George would be.
I think he'll be the number 2 option.
I don't think.
I don't know if you pass up Laurie. I mean, he's still the best player on the team.
I think in this. Well, I think this team is going to be using him different than previous teams did.
Yes,
I think they're going to use him more for his. They're
going to use spot up shooting. Absolutely. And I totally agree. And I think they do use Laurie more as a spot up shooter. You have more weapons around him, especially if, going back to Walker Kessler, or, if Walker Kessler can shoot that 3 ball this year, you've got a ton of space on the floor, almost too much. If you've got 5 guys spread out, Walker Kessler is kind of the key. And that's, actually our next segment, but I do think Laurie's still going to be the number 1 option on this team. And this is going to be a team that's going to be trying to win, a team that's going to win 50 games next year.
That's right. It's out on the internet. He said it.
And I think, if Laurie just absolutely fell apart next year, does the contract look horrible? Yes, but you've only got it for 2 more, 3 more seasons. Right. Next year and 2 more.
Yeah, next year, 2 more after that. Yeah.
So,
I agree with you, man. I think that the likelihood of it being as bad as the Kerry Lincoln contract, I don't think it's going to be. Do I think that there's potential for him? Because some of his injuries were actual injuries, that he
some
sustained.
Of them, yeah.
And some of them can come back because of the back issues and stuff that he had even when he was with Chicago. I think there is a chance that could hurt them. But again, it's not to the extent because of the length of the contract. And honestly, he's not going to be the 4th option on this team.
Never.
I don't think he's going to be I think by the end of this year, going into the next season, I could potentially see him being the 3rd option on this team.
I would be very surprised by that.
And I would be okay with it because that means we got 2 players that are playing above all-star status.
Absolutely. That means we're probably pushing deep into the Western Conference Finals at that point.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But yeah, like Keontae George would be there. And then obviously Agent Peterson or AJ or
DP, yeah.
Or DP, right? Either one of those guys could be in there in that mix. And honestly, we can't forget about Triple J. We can't forget about Ace Bailey. Like, there's a good chance that he's simply just not the cornerstone of this team 2-3 years from now because of the amount of talent that is on this team.
But that's okay because in 3 years, his contract's expiring.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I just thought it'd be interesting to kind of compare the two. I started thinking about it. I'm like, oh man, they both came in on bad teams.
Yeah.
Both tall white guys coming from overseas, and then just kind of they're like, wow, these comparisons just keep hitting. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy too because as you started watching them, it's like, wow, everything.
Yeah,
like it was really fun.
Yeah. So something that's been all the buzz around Utah lately, which is something we want to get into, has been the offseason with Walker Kessler. Something that was said last week is something that I feel that you said last week I think deserves a little bit more airtime, perhaps a little bit more another day. But the team, I think that the core thing, what you said there was that the team was really built around Walker Kessler, which I don't think most people would agree with or even say. But if you break down the numbers and you break down how this team's built, it's kind of quite obvious that that's what they did, right? Whether it's on purpose or not, basically everything they've done is around whether or not we have a defensive-minded, old-school big guy, top 5 rim defender, under center, right? Like
yep.
in the not under center, that's more of a football term, but like in the paint, right?
Yeah.
So rumor has it over the weekend that they already had a handshake deal in place that we were going to just wait until after the draft, and Kessler wasn't going to go into restricted free agency, and the Jazz were just going to sign him, right?
Yep.
Well, reports came out last night during a Spence Checkett's ESPN 700 show where he had, which is called The Drive. He had Tim McMahon on the line. He said the two parties still aren't close to an agreement. They are far apart on agreeing on his value. He says, and I quote, "I think it's a systemical decision. The Jazz value him somewhere around 25 to 30 million range, and Walker Kessler's representation believes that his value is significantly higher. So there are conversations that need to be had. There are negotiations that need to happen." Basically, what he's saying is that this isn't anything that's not going to happen, but either way, we believe that even if he does go to free agency, the Jazz are going to match, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what we're looking at is a $30 million AAV probably at minimum for this player is what we're probably looking at for this guy. And what we just saw, AJ, in the Western Conference Finals shows us which way this can go.
Yeah.
Chet Holmgren makes over $40 million a year. And he had a great season, even a great postseason. When it came down to going up against Wemby, he turned into Ben Simmons. He was afraid to.
Wow. Wow.
He was afraid to go in the post. He was passing wide open shots. Wemby got passed over for the MVP this year, and you can see him fuming on the bench when SGA got his trophy. And he actually had it in for Chet ever since that Chet Holmgren won the UA MVP over him back when they were like 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
Right? Wemby takes this stuff seriously, and when he gets paid $40 or $50 million, there's no way he's going to cower in any playoff scenario. Right? He's just
not a chance.
He's just that type of player who's got it. He's got that Mamba mentality, as some like to say, right?
Yep.
So the question is, which way is Kessler going to go when he has a similar paycheck?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. Wemby and Holmgren are very different players, right? And I think it speaks volumes to the levels of NBA play that there are, right? Holmgren plays on a great Oklahoma City team that is anchored by an MVP. He's the big guy that's relied on to kind of make shots when you kind of need them, but we saw in the playoffs he kind of fell apart. I think the best part about Walker Kessler is you have these two guys, and then you have Walker Kessler. And I'm not saying he's above them. I'm just saying however you want, a triangle, right?
Right, different type of player, basically, yeah.
Very different player. Wemby blocks shots in multiple ways. Holmgren's not really a shot blocking guy, not necessarily as defensive. And Walker's more of a traditional kind of under the basket big on defense. And I think that he takes his defensive role so seriously. His job is to make it difficult for anybody to score at the basket. And neither Wemby or Holmgren are necessarily that player. Wemby gets a lot of blocks guarding in space.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's blocking 15 footers, and Walker takes that role at the basket and his close defense to a different level. And I think he could be as good or better of a defender when it comes to limiting easy shots at the basket than Wemby is, because Wemby does play out a lot more than Kessler does. So, I think what I love about Walker, and the reason that I think that he might have kind of the it factor is when he came out of college, he wasn't known as the guy that would stretch out and make threes. Not that he didn't take them, because I mean he took 50 attempts his senior year, made 10 of them, so that's like a solid 20% shooting. But I think that Walker saw where the NBA is going. He saw how players like Rudy Gobert essentially became ineffective in late games because he couldn't guard at the three-point line and he couldn't shoot good enough to help his team. That right there is a completely different mindset. What do I have to do to help my team be successful? Is it guarding at the three-point line? Is it shooting the three? Walker saw that early in his career. In his first season, he came out and said, I think I need to be able to shoot threes if I'm going to help this team win. I think that I need to be able to defend out of the three-point line if I can help this team win. Now, we haven't had a ton of Walker Kessler, right? There's been a lot of injuries, whether you want to call them quote-unquote injuries, whatever that may be. It is something special. It just is. This guy, I think it's something that he's still refining. And I think to have him take some of those shots, get the Jazz, allow them to create space on the floor. I think Walker's passionate. I think he's ready to be back on the floor to show this fan base that he can compete, show this whole franchise that he's the type of player that you need to build around. That's who we want. I think Walker Kessler absolutely has the it factor. I've said it before. This team was built around him. You add Triple J, and I mean, Triple J is just a guy that's always in the right place at the right time. Walker Kessler is that guy that's always there, just always in your business. This team could be locked down on defense. And if Walker Kessler shows up and has the it factor like I think he will, man, this could be a really, really fun season to be a Jazz fan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And keep in mind, we're not saying that Walker Kessler is going to be the perennial MVP candidate that Wemby is.
No.
That's not what we're saying
No,
here.
not at all.
We were just taking the Western Conference finals as kind of like a barometer. Who are we going to get, right?
Yeah.
Are we going to get the guy who's really excited to play on a winning team and just do his thing and then the second he gets any pushback, he falls apart? Or are we going to get somebody who constantly is trying to earn his paycheck, right?
And elevate this team to the next level. Do
Elevate
everything he can to elevate the team.
Yeah.
That's who I think Walker Kessler is.
Exactly. And we got kind of the both sides of that with Triple J and Walker Kessler. Like we have Walker, who's a traditional shot blocker around the rim, and then we got Triple J, who's a shot blocker in space, right? Like he's always that helper that, that's what he was known for as a power forward.
And he's just such a tough defensive player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it takes so much pressure off of Walker to just be in his zone, be out there blocking shots, be out there applying pressure. Like,
it's gonna be so nice to have two big guys who understand how to play defense in the,
could you even imagine? We've never had that before.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while.
Yeah.
Definitely been a while.
Yeah.
We got a comment here from Greg Hawkins here. Channel legend Greg Hawkins. Watching AJ get all excited about Walker Kessler puts a smile on my face. Yeah.
I'm glad, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm excited about Walker Kessler. So
yeah, I'm excited about him. We know, I mean, either way, we're matching him, right? Like it's not really a debate. Like if there's somebody that goes and pays way more for Walker than the Jazz want to pay for him, who do you think it's going to be? I know I have who I think it's going to be.
I could almost see like the Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
As crazy as that is, I feel like that is one of their lacks is real low defense. I could see the Bulls overpaying.
I mean, they do have 2 picks in the lottery this year, so they could go and draft
And
that.
they could, but there's a big difference between somebody that has seen NBA time and
That's very
drafting
true.
somebody that you think could be a defensive asset.
That's very true. Do you know who I think is going to be?
Who?
The Lakers.
The Lakers have been rumored to go after him really hard. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think because what's his name? He needs a pick and roll big.
Yeah.
Luka. He wanted one. They had one lined up, but he didn't make the physicals for the Lakers, so they canceled it. And he needs somebody who can pick and roll and dive to the basket. And that's that's Walker Kessler's best offensive game is the diving to the basket on the pick and roll after the high screen.
Yeah.
He nails at that. So, that's what Luka wants.
That's scary too, because the Lakers got that money.
Well, depends. I mean, they got the Guggenheim money now for sure. But like if they depends on what happens with LeBron and stuff like that, whether or not they're going to risk going into the second apron. So we'll see. Anyway, we want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, again, as a reminder, folks, if we just want to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed to this channel, Utah Jazz DNA. We've had the fastest growth on this channel that we could even expect. Absolutely love it. So deeply appreciate it. Can't say it enough. Very, very cool.
Yes, absolutely. And if you guys are watching on YouTube on one of our short videos, just know this is available as a podcast on DNA Sports Recap, wherever you get your audio.
With all that said, my name is Darren. That is AJ. And this has been an episode of the DNA Sports Recap.
Till next time.